Hello and welcome to this week's Patreon practice. So this week we are going to focus a little bit more on back bend, so finding some movement through the spine. And just quickly before we start, every time you come into a back bend you want to think of lifting up through the heart space as much as you can. So the tendency is for us to take the back bend into the lumbar spine because that's the bit of us that back bends kind of most easily. But to keep pressure out of the lower back, it's important to think about bending through the thoracic spine here. So almost lifting up through the back of the heart space. So you want to keep reaching up through the crown of the head so you keep the spine nice and long. And then think about really lifting here. Never push beyond what is comfortable for you. And if you're back bending and you start to feel like you're compressing in the lower back, so it almost starts to feel like the bones are kind of jamming into each other, know that that's your limit. The spine is the way it is, and once you start to compress you can't move beyond that, and just trying to force beyond that is just going to cause you problems. So listen to your body. If what you're feeling when you're back bending is a stretch on the front of the body, that's brilliant. That, you know, you can probably move into that a little bit more over time. But if when you're back bending you're feeling a jamming in the spine or in the low back, then you've probably reached your limit. And then just focus more, rather than taking it into a deeper back bend, just on reaching up through the crown of the head to keep as much length as you can. Just remembering that what we're doing just needs to keep functional movement in the body, so you don't need to be able to achieve the Instagram back bends that you see. Some people have a very flexible spine and very easily able to go into these beautiful back bends. But if you're anything like me, the minute I start to back bend too much, I just jam the lower back. So really importantly, work within your body's limits. Okay, and then we're going to start this practice in a back bend. We're going to come through into our Sphinx pose. So coming through onto your stomach, and then just having the elbows underneath the shoulders, and you can, if you want, support your head in your hands. That could be a really nice way of doing this. We're going to come in a very relaxed sense. If you felt that this was too much of a back bend, then you can take your elbows out to the sides a little bit more, so there's not so much of a bend there. Or you could just come all the way down and just rest the forehead on the back of the hands. So just find the space that's appropriate for you, or the place that's appropriate for you. And then relax your shoulders, and we're just going to close the eyes. And once you've closed your eyes, bring your awareness to your breath. So breath just gently in and out through your nose. And as much as you can, relaxing your body here. So releasing any tension in the muscles. And letting yourself just kind of drop down with gravity. So like pelvis rest heavily on your mat. And those of you that are comfortable with Ujjayi breathing, you can start to constrict the base of the throat and work with an Ujjayi breath. You just want to stay with your normal breath, then that's absolutely fine. As much as you can, try and make the breath in and out of the nose, although of course if you are blocked up in any way, then you might not have a choice. And just take a couple more rounds of breath here. So focusing as much as you can on your breath and keeping that focus as you move through your practice. Remember that yoga is a kind of a journey of self-discovery. So you want to notice how you feel as you move through your practice, your reactions to poses, to thoughts that come into your head, how your body reacts physically. And try and bear that in mind. So we'll just take one more round of breath here. And then just gently lower yourself all the way down onto your mat so you can rest the forehead on the back of the hands. And then just find a very gentle movement of the hips from side to side. And then from there, we're just going to roll over onto our right hand side. So we're going to support the head in the right hand. And then just gently bending up the knees. And then from there, extending the left leg out in front of you. Now, if you've got tight hamstrings, the body's just feeling tight, particularly if it's first thing in the morning, just come to the place that suits you. And if you need to keep that left knee gently bent, then do that. You're going to bring the foot as far up towards your face, just as is comfortably possible. And then we're going to bend up the right leg, take a hold of the right foot with the left hand, and just draw the heel in towards your glute. You might just gently keep the eyes closed, or just a soft gaze, couple of breaths. And stretching out through that right thigh. And if you're not feeling much of a stretch, you can maybe take the right knee back a little bit. Keep drawing heel in towards glute. And then release out that right leg, bend the left knee, roll back over onto your stomach, and then straight over onto the other side. So head rests in left hand, bend the right knee, draw the right leg in front of you. If it's possible, you can straighten out that right leg, again, just to your own degree. The more you draw your foot in towards your face, the more of a stretch you're going to get through the back of the leg. And then we're going to bend up the left leg, take a hold of the left foot with the right hand, and again draw the heel in towards the glute. Keep the shoulders nice and relaxed, your face nice and relaxed. Couple of rounds of breath. And there is always the option to just walk that left knee a little bit further back if you feel that you want more of a stretch in that left thigh. And then we're going to release out the left leg, bend the right knee, extend the leg back out behind you, roll back onto your stomach, place the hands underneath the shoulders and find your way into a child's pose. And just have a couple of rounds of breath in your child's pose. Lengthen back out through the tailbone, creep your arms out in front of you. Starting to make your poses now just a little bit more active, keeping some length there in the arms. Gentle stretch there into the shoulders, perhaps the upper arms. And then we're going to take the hands alongside us rather than out in front, but just hover them a little way, the arms a little way above the mat, and circle into your wrists. So first one way, and then take it back, opposite direction. Extend the arms back out in front of you, and your next in-breath, come up onto all fours. Stack your knees underneath your hips, wrists underneath shoulders. And just a couple of rounds of happy cat, angry cat. Working with each breath. And then come back through to a flat back. So use your next in-breath, extend the right leg out behind you. And then on your exhale, you're going to bend the right knee, bring the knee forwards so it's kind of in line with your right hip and around about hip height. And then extend the leg back out behind you. And from there, we're going to put in a push-up. So as you exhale, you're going to lower, maybe it's just an inch, or maybe you can bring your nose all the way down to the mat. Inhale back up. We're going to go again. Exhale, bend the knee, extend, push up. Bend the knee, extend, push up. Let's do one more. Bend the knee, extend, push up. Come back up onto All fours, right knee comes back down. We're going to do the same thing other side. Left leg extends out behind you. I'm going to come forward a bit, I haven't got much space. And then we're going to bend the left knee, bring it in line with your hip height, extend the leg out behind you, put in your push-up. Keep going. Really focus on the muscles you're using to make these movements. So you might focus on the glutes as you move through the leg, the arms and the shoulders as you take your push-up. You might keep some focus on your glutes. We'll take one more. And then bring your left knee back down onto your mat. And then from there, walk your hands forwards, find your way into Anahatasana, heart melting pose. So forehead onto the mat or a support if you need it, perhaps even coming onto the chin. And again, thinking about getting into that upper thoracic spine. Taking one more round of breath here. And then walking the hands back in towards you, coming up through to a high kneeling position. So knees are about hip width apart. Drop your arms down alongside you and then just gently start to lean back. So it's not a back bend, it's not pelvis forwards and heart lifts up. I'm going to try and keep in line from knees to shoulders to crown of head. Everything stays in line. You might just start to feel your thighs start to kick in. Keep engaged through the core. Take one more breath. Inhale, draw your thighs together to bring you back through to upright. And exhale, take a breath there. Hit the shoulders nice and soft. We're going to go back again. So the more you lean back, the stronger it's going to get. Inhale to find the length. Exhale, just start to drop back. One more breath. You're going to get engage the thighs to bring you back through to upright. And then just take your hands to the lower back, draw your elbows towards each other, and this time we will back bend, so pelvis forwards. Again, lift up through the heart space. Either keeping chin to chest or just keeping the neck long. You don't want to be dropping the head right the way back. Creating space in the chest. Again, awareness of what's happening in the spine. And then use your next in-breath, bring yourself back through to upright. Sit yourself back down on your heels. And then just bring the hands to the shoulders and just circle a couple of times each way through your elbows. And we'll take that both directions. And then clasping the hands, moving into the wrists. Again, we'll take it both directions. Release out the hands, give them a shake. Come forwards, plant the hands. We're going to tuck the toes and find a bent knee to downwards facing dog. So a couple of breaths there. Knees stay quite bent. Lengthen the hips up and back behind you. Just drop the head down so you're gazing at the back edge of your mat. And then when it feels okay, we'll start to work towards straightening out the legs. So you might just pad out the feet here. Again, if you're feeling tight in the back of the legs, you can keep the knees bent. You don't have to straighten the legs. Maybe just give the head a little bit of a shake. Just take one more round of breath. And then on your next inhale, we're going to soften the knees. And as you inhale, so next inhale, step the right foot forward between the hands, drop down onto your left knee. Untuck the toes, reach the arms up alongside the ears. A couple of breaths here in Anjaneyasana. So you're squeezing inner legs in towards each other. Hips forwards and down. Arms up and back as much as is comfortable. And again, lifting up through the back of the heart. Keep the left arm up, drop the right hand down to your thigh, lengthen there and tip over to your right. You could, if you can reach, take your right hand to the floor, to a block or a brick. Try not to lean forwards in doing that though. If you can't, staying upright, reach the floor, just keep the hand on the right thigh. And then come out to the side bend, place the hands down to frame the right foot, step it back, downwards facing dog. Again, maybe there's just a little bit of movement there. And then your next in-breath, we'll step the left foot forward between the hands, drop down onto the right knee. So same thing, sweeps the arms up, Anjaneyasana. And then finding that side bend, left hand to the left thigh, right arm reaches up, you're tipping gently to your left. Again, be aware of the low back. If you feel like you're compressing the low back, engage the legs, bring the hips back a little bit. So almost a sense that you're tucking the tailbone, which will give you more length in the low back. So don't drop forwards to the state where you're really compressing in the low back. One more breath into that right side body. And then inhale, come back through to upright spine. Take the hands down, step back into your plank pose. So from plank, rolling the shoulders away from the ears. We're going to slowly lower all the way to the floor. Feel free to drop the knees down first if you wish. Keep the hands underneath the shoulders. Inhale, find a cobra. So just coming up to your own degree, reaching up through the crown of the head. And gently glancing back over the right shoulder. Inhale back through centre, gently glancing back over the left shoulder. Inhale back through centre, exhale, bring it all the way down. Tuck the toes, hands underneath the shoulders, we'll press up to plank. And again, find your way into that bent knee, downwards facing dog. And then when it feels okay, we'll straighten out the legs. So use your next in-breath, float your right leg up behind you, bend your right knee, stack your right hip on top of your left. Try as much as you can to keep your shoulders square. And then we're going to just square off the hips. As you bring your right knee through, try and touch your right elbow. Take the right knee over to the left elbow, and then you're going to drop onto the big toe side of the left foot, extend the right leg out, find your fallen triangle. Roll the shoulders away from the ears. You can look up if that feels okay. If not, you're looking forwards or down. And then bring your left hand back down onto that. You're going to pivot back onto the ball of the left foot. Now it depends how much space you've got. You might stay here, you might be able to put in a little bit of a push up. And then we're going to take it back, three-legged dog. And then bring your right foot back down onto your mat. Just square yourself off again. Inhale, left leg lifts, bend the left knee, stack the left hip on top of the right. We'll square it off as we bring left knee through to left elbow, over to right elbow, and then extend the left leg out, drop onto the big toe side, or you're actually grounding through the right foot, right arm up towards the ceiling. Roll the shoulders away from the ears. Keeping awareness of your breath. And then bring the right hand down, roll onto the big toe side, onto the ball of the right foot. Maybe there's a little bit of a push up there. And then you're going to sweep it back, three-legged dog. Ooh, hear my ankle cracking. And then bring your left foot back down onto your mat. So from there, soften the knees, look forward, step, jump, float the feet forward between the hands. Halfway lift, and as you exhale, fold forward, so you're coming through into your forward bend. And then take the hands, if you can comfortably do so, place them underneath feet. Feet are hip width apart. So the backs of your hands are on the mat and just opening up through the back of the wrists. Bend the knees if you need to, tip a little bit of weight into the front of the feet. And we're going to bring this up through to standing. So as you inhale, look up, halfway lift. Exhale, you're going to release the hands. Take your right hand to your waist. Hook your fingers, peace fingers, around the big toe of the left foot. And as you inhale, bring yourself up through to standing. So that left leg is lifted. And then release the big toe. Take left hand to the waist. Take that left foot behind you. So you're trying to draw the left heel in towards the glute. Always get crampy when I do this. And then take a hold of the left foot with the left hand. Take your right arm up alongside your ear and then moving through into Natrajasana, your dancer pose. So heart draws forwards again, thinking about lifting up through the heart space. Try and keep the left hip drawing forwards as you keep the left foot out behind you. Reach up through the crown of the head. And then inhale, soften the right knee. You're going to bring that left leg back in front of you. Draw the thigh in towards the ribs. And then on your out breath, gently place your left foot back down onto the mat. Lengthen there. On your out breath, folding forwards again. So coming back into your forward fold. This time, hold on to your shins. If you can just clasp your hands behind your legs. Again, keep the knees bent if you need to. Relax through the shoulders, let the crown of the head drop down. And we're going to come back into that balance, so you're not soften your knees. Peace fingers the right hand around the right big toe. Weight into the left leg, left foot. Inhale, come up through to standing. And once you've got your balance, we're going to release the right foot and take the foot behind you so that you're drawing your foot, your heel in towards your right glute. Keep lifting up through the heart centre, reach up through the crown of the head. And then we'll hold on to the foot, extend the left arm up, find your way into Natrajasana. Keep lifting up through the heart, right hip drawing forwards. Gaze fixed on one spot. And then use your next in-breath, soften the left knee. You're going to bring that right leg back in front of you. Draw the thigh in towards the ribs. And on your out breath, gently place the right foot back down onto your mat. Bring your feet together. Lengthen on your in-breath. On your out-breath, sink your hips. Find your way into Utkatasana. Relaxing through all the muscles that you don't need to be working to keep you here. And then coming up onto the balls of the feet. And on your out breath, gently lowering your hips down towards your heels. And using your hands if you need support, sitting yourself back down onto your mat and finding your way into Navasana. Keeping the shoulders relaxed. On your out breath, maybe you can take it into half boat. Tips of the shoulder blades lift up away from the mat. On your in-breath, we'll bring it back up into Navasana. And then we're going to bend the knees. Cross your shins as high up as you comfortably can. Hands come down. If you've got blocks or bricks, you can use them. Press into the hands, squeeze the legs in towards each other. A little bit of a lift. Maybe you can lift the bum and the feet. And we're going to jump back and move through a vinyasa. Maybe just lingering there in your back bend. And then hips up and back, downwards facing dog. Breath or two in your down dog. then using your next inhale, floating the right leg up behind you, and then on your exhale, step the right foot through between the hands, ground the left foot, Virabhadrasana 1 as you inhale. So grounding strongly through the feet. If you've got any issues with this pose, again, maybe it's affecting your lower back, you can come onto the ball of the back foot. Hands can be shoulder width or together. Just getting a sense of how you feel in this pose. And then clasping your hands behind you, walking your right foot to the right, lift up through the heart, and on your out breath, finding your humble warrior. So think about getting into your shoulders, letting your hands drop towards the head. Keeping the hips as square as you can. And then from here, bring the hands back towards your lower back and then release the hands, pivot onto the ball of the left foot. Couple of breaths here in your lizard pose. You can always drop the left knee down onto the mat if you wish. Keep the heart drawing forwards. If you wanted to take this into a bind, you can thread your right arm through underneath the right leg and either just wing the arms out to the sides or take the hands behind the back and hold on to the left wrist. Take one more breath. And then release the hands down to the floor. We're going to walk the hands round to the left and take it into Skandasana over towards your left. So left knee bends, right leg is straight. Maybe you can bring the hands up to the heart center. If you need to keep the hands on the floor, then do that. Keep the chest open, shoulders relaxed. Take one more breath. And then release the hands. You're going to sit this back down onto your mat. And then we're going to turn to face the right leg. So the left knee is going to drop down towards the floor. Now, if this doesn't work for you, bring the left leg in front instead. You don't want to come into any pain in the knee. You could sit on blocks or cushions, that might help. But failing that, left leg in front. Lengthen up on your in-breath. On your out-breath, fold forwards. Bend the right knee if you need to. Take one more breath. Use your next inhale. Bring yourself back through to upright. So you're going to bend that right knee, come forwards. You can take a vinyasa, maybe it's a one-legged vinyasa. You can move straight to down dog. And then from your down dog, soften your knees, look forwards. Step, jump, float the feet forward between the hands. Halfway lift. As you exhale, fold in, head to legs. And then as you inhale, look up. Heel toe your feet back together. Bend the knees, come back through that Utkatasana. Couple of breaths here. Try not to stick the bum out too much. You want to keep some length in that lower back. And then come up onto the balls of the feet. And nice and slowly lowering hips down towards heels. And again, sitting yourself back into that Navasana. Just a couple of breaths, drawing the energy in towards the midline. Taking it back perhaps for half boat. Inhale, come back up, Navasana. And we're going to find that little bit of a lift again. Cross the shins as high as you can. Squeeze the legs in towards the chest. Hands down. So maybe you're just going to rock the bum up, keep the feet down, or maybe you can lift the bum and the feet. And then we'll jump back. You can move through a vinyasa or go straight to down dog. or meeting in downwards facing. And then floating the left leg up behind you on the in-breath. On the out-breath, stepping the left foot through between the hands, grounding the right foot, Virabhadrasana 1 as you inhale. Again, your choice here of whether you want to come to the ball of the back foot, you want to have the hands perhaps shoulder width apart. Couple of breaths, just settling into the pose. Keep moving on that voyage of self-discovery. And then releasing the hands behind you, left foot to the left a little more, lifting up through the heart on the in-breath. On the out-breath, you've got your humble warrior. So try and keep the hips square. You're not sticking the bum out to the left-hand side. Get into your shoulders. And then take your hands back towards the lower back, and then we'll release the hands to the inside of the left foot. Pivot onto the ball of the right foot and find your way into your lizard pose. So hips kind of forwards and down. Keep your left knee stacked over the ankle. You can drop the right knee down onto the mat if you wish. For those that want, maybe the left arm threads underneath the left leg. You can float the arms out to the sides, or you can find that bind behind your back. Keep the chest open. And then release the hands back down to the inside of the left foot. Skandasana to your right. So you're only going to turn to your right, bend the right knee as you extend the left leg out. Now you can keep the hands to the floor, or you can bring the hands up through to the heart centre. Take one more breath. On your out breath, we're just going to sit the hips back down onto the mat. And then as we did before, turn to face front, drop the right knee down onto the mat. And again, any issues, we're going to bring the right foot in front instead. Lengthen there, and on your out breath, fold forwards. Each inhale lengthens your spine, each exhale takes you forwards. And then on your next in-breath, we're going to find that halfway lift. And then from there, walk your hands forwards. Step it back. Maybe there's a one-legged vinyasa. Maybe you're going straight to down dog. Maybe you want a couple of breaths in your child's pose. Connect back to breath if you've lost it. And then on your next out breath, we're going to find our way back into Ustrasana, that camel pose. So bring your knees down onto the mat, come up into a high kneeling position. So, hands to the low back, bring your elbows in towards each other, press the pelvis forwards. Again, lift up through the back of the heart space. Your choice how deeply you go. If you know this pose and you want to drop the hands back further to the thighs or even to the heels, you can do. Or just keep the hands to the lower back. Don't let the hips drop backwards. You want to keep the hips forwards and up. Keep lifting up through the heart space. On your next in-breath, you're going to engage the thighs. Bring yourself back through to upright. Take a breath there. You might find sometimes the knees go a little bit wider than hip width. Sometimes that can give us a little bit more space in the low back. So, but just be mindful and don't let them go up too far to the sides. We're going to go one more time. So if you've got a strong back and it feels okay, we can take the arms up alongside the ears. Any back issues, or if there's just you feel there's a general weakness in the back, you're much better keeping the hands to the low back or to the thighs for support. So this is a strong one, so just be mindful of that. Inhale, reach the arms up, or keep the hands to the low back. And as you exhale, pelvis forwards, heart up. Again, finding your way into a back bend. Just engaging through the glutes. Try not to drop the head all the way back. Nice strong body. One more breath. Engage the thighs. Inhale, bring you back through to upright. And this time, as you exhale, hands to the heart. Sit yourself back down on your heels. Relax through the shoulders. Take a breath there. Fully focused on your breath. And then just gently leaning yourself forwards. Finding your way back into your child's pose. Take one more breath. As you inhale, walk the hands back in towards you. Bring the knees together so you're in a kneeling position. And again, any seated position will be all right if this isn't comfortable. Left hand to right knee, take the right hand behind you. Lengthen on your in-breath. On your exhale, you're twisting to your right. It might be that you can bring your right hand and just rest it gently against the left thigh. Again, no forcing. If it doesn't feel right, you're just going to keep that right hand gently to the floor. Lengthen on the in-breath. Exhale back through centre. Right hand to the left thigh, left hand behind you again. If you can move deeper into that twist, then do, but don't force it. It's not going to do your spine any good. Left shoulder draws back. Eyes to the left. And then inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bring it back through centre. Okay. So we've got one more pose before we come through into our Shavasana. So you can put what strength you have left into it. Let's just clasp hands first. A little bit of movement into the wrists. And again, take that in both directions. And then you're going to bring the hands to the floor. Now, if you've got blocks or bricks or even books handy, they can be really helpful here. Press the hands down. You're going to keep the tops of the feet on the mat. And then as you inhale, start to lift the knees up towards the chest. So press the ground away from you, squeeze knees in towards the chest. And then exhale, bring it back down. Maybe just find a little bit of movement through the shoulders. We're going to do that one more time. So maybe you're going to repeat that same thing, or maybe you see if you can just start to hover the whole of the feet away from the mat, or maybe it's just one foot, maybe you're just going to work on the right foot or the left foot. So in fact we'll do two more. So if you're going to work with lifting the right foot this time, we'll do the other side too. So press into the hands, inhale, lift up. Can you lift the right foot away from the mat? Right foot down, knees back down. Take a breath. We'll do the other side. If you've managed to do both feet last time, then see if you can go for both feet again. It's really quite strong, really helpful if you've got blocks or bricks. Hand down. So this time we're going for the left side. Inhale, knees up, left foot lifts. Exhale, bring it back down. Shake out the wrists. And then find your way back down onto your mat for your relaxation. Close your eyes. Relax your lower jaw. Drop your shoulders. Relax the glutes, the thighs. Relax the muscles of your chest. Let your chest open. Slow down your breath. Focus on letting go. Your body drop down with gravity. With each out breath, you relax a little more. And stay here for as long as you need to. And I'll catch you next time. Namaste.